Item 2 is members' declarations. Do any members have any declarations under the Code of Conduct in respect of items on the agenda?
Not seeing any.
Sorry, Town Clerk, just wanted to triple check that being a member of council of CH is...
It should be, if it's on your public declaration of interest, then you don't need to declare it. So I assume there are several other members who have the same.
Excellent, thank you. Moving to item 3, election of the chairman.
Thank you. Election of the chairman. This is to elect a chairman for the year ensuing. Only one member has provided notice of their wish to serve as chair by the deadline given, in which case I can confirm that Jamal Banda is appointed as chair for the ensuing year.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Right. There you go. All yours.
Thank you, Robin, thank you, Town Clerk, and thanks for not running against me, guys, and giving me an opportunity to continue chairing this committee. Much appreciated. Item 4.
Thank you. Item 4 is to elect a deputy chairman for the year ensuing. No members provided notice they wish to serve as deputy chair by the given deadline. However, James St John Davis has since noted that he'll be willing to serve as chair. As this was after the deadline, there is an opportunity for any other members who may wish to serve as deputy chair to put their names forward. Do any other members wish to serve as deputy chair? Seeing none, members content to elect James St John Davis as deputy chair for the ensuing year.
Town Clerk, I think we're on...
Item 5 is to agree the public minutes and non-public summary of the previous meeting held on the 21st of February 2025.
Okay, hopefully members have had a chance to review the minutes, and I'd like to invite members to make any comments before we move to matters arising. That's great. And does anyone have any matters arising? Oh, actually, yes, matters arising for the minutes, please. John.
I'm so sorry. Could I just go back to the minutes? I remember that we had an announcement that the school had won the Independent School of the Year, but I wasn't entirely read this that we also won the School of the Year for Performing Arts. Was that? I don't remember that coming up before.
Yeah, so
congratulations. Well,
there are 2 awards. I don't know, Sam, if you can shed a little bit more light for John on the performing arts and the kind of things that may have been done over the year. Sorry, Sam, just your mic for the people.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
So obviously I wasn't privy to the actual application, but the application was done at the same time as Independent School of the Year, and we put in for the performing arts as well. And the application would have been around what the children had been doing, so the various drama productions, the amount of kids doing GCSE and A-level, the amount of music going on, all the planning and things. And then we would have been up against other schools in the similar category, and we were awarded that as well. So yeah.
And you apply for that every year, or was it just because you won the independent school?
No.
Separate, yes. Right. Anyway. Fantastic.
It's great kudos for the school. Really good for the drama department. Yeah, really good.
Fantastic.
Has anybody else got some comments? I've got a few. Hi, Jazz. If nobody else has, just wanted to make a few points actually on these minutes. First of all, to thank Reese for his hard work sending that letter out that circulated to the whole court. I think it was a good way to highlight the work of the committee and, more importantly, the work of CH and how impactful CH is in our community. Unfortunately, the letter didn't get much traction. And hopefully later on in this committee meeting, we can talk a little bit about how we can become a bit more effective in reaching our colleagues on the court and building up some interest in this fantastic organisation. But the letter was circulated a couple of times and we didn't get the response that we hoped for. And so that's something for us to think about and hopefully we can discuss later on. The other thing about the minutes, it talks about us arranging a trip to CH, and we did. Unfortunately, it wasn't very well attended, and that, again, scratching my head, we had lower numbers than we did last year, and which was quite disappointing. On the plus side, we did have 2 members who are not current members of this committee who are considering it, and that's quite exciting, and they're experienced members who I think will add a lot of value. But it would be great to ask or get your suggestions on what we can do to improve in terms of getting member engagement, getting people to just come down and see the school. I think once they see the school, they will fall in love with it like I did and want to get involved a little bit more. So, you know, I don't know what members think, but I'm opening it up to potential suggestions.
What sort of struck me is I think we've obviously had a huge number of new members join us and still have a sort of cohort of newer members. It's just some of the conversations I think that started or were provoked by the letter being sent round. I think it might also just be a case of going back to some of the basics. I think a few colleagues have assumed that they have to have some sort of prior experience in order to be considered. Some of the comments I've sort of had back is sort of like, well, I've never done anything like that before. And I suppose also just understanding how the process works with presentees in the school as well. So I think some of it is I think we're going to have to do it member to member, if that makes sense. Where someone has sort of shown an interest or there's been a conversation of actually then just following that up and saying, actually, this is what we can do. And I've suggested to 2 of them that, you know, on not just the formally arranged visits, but where we have another visit, they just come along out of interest just to see, take it in. Because I think that way we sort of build up that level of confidence that they feel like they're actually going to contribute, which I think we all agree all of them would be able to. But I think a number of having, you know, one colleague actually said to me, well, I've never served as a school governor before, so I wouldn't have a clue what to do. But actually that's not really the prerequisite of being on this committee and supporting the school. So again, I think it's just us going back to basics and having those conversations.
Thank you, James. Sure.
Thanks, Chair. I think there's a service that happens every year in the city that Christ Hospital partakes. St Matthew's Day, that's the one. Thank you. And they march across into Guildhall, and there's a bit of a show. And actually, every time that's happened, I've noticed members do sort of peer out the window and go, "Oh, what's going on over there?" I wonder whether there's an invitation that could be sent to court members to attend that service, or, you know, line Gresham Street or line the yard as the kids march in. It's just those sort of almost anecdotal touch points can sometimes encourage members to join. So I don't know if an invitation could be extended to there, because then you're not taking them down to deepest, darkest suburbs. You're actually in the city.
No, I think that's a great idea. And actually, CH participate in the Lord Mayor's show as well. And so maybe there's something coming up that we can. We don't. I think we don't want to spoil their style. I think I think that is a great point, actually. And so let's have that as an action that for the next.
There are other organisations that the city supports where members march on the Lord Mayor's parade with them. It might be quite an interesting thing, because there's quite a few members who might want to participate in the Lord Mayor's show, and actually if they think, oh, well, if I join CH, there's an opportunity to participate, you know,
yeah,
to bribe.
to look cool next to the coolest kids on the march. No, but I think, yeah, we'll definitely take an action on sort of making sure that some of those key dates are circulated, especially St Matthew's Day in the city. I think that's a really, really good idea. And hopefully I can work with Ben and Reese to see if anything can be done around the Lord Mayor's show, which CH have always participated in, and maybe that will drum up some interest.
Sorry, we also, I think that's a great idea. We also talked about the maths challenge that we run up here, at Guildhall as well. We talked about that when Jamal came down last week, that we would, and one of the actions on me is to look at whether we can set up a breakfast or something for members here at Guildhall, and then perhaps they can come to the, if they're interested, they can come to the maths challenge as well. So we bring up some of the kids. Matthew will come, the new head as well, just so they can see. So that's an action on me to see if I can make that logistically and budgetary work our end as well. So I'll look at that.
Yeah, excellent. John.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the one a couple of weeks ago, and I had work that day. I wonder if the term donation governor might of people. Oh, we've got to put our hands in our pockets. I don't know. I mean, when I first saw the word donation come, I thought, well, what's all this about? So I don't know whether that might be something that needs to be explained, that the city is the donor rather than the individual member.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we had quite a comprehensive letter from Reese that tried to demystify it. You know, some people thought it was a hospital, some other people didn't know it was a school. It's sort of, we know it, the language can be quite tricky. And I agree with you. And I think where we're going to get that, you know, to that point where we demystify it for members is, as James said, in those one-to-one interactions in the sort of members room and so on and so forth. When invariably people ask, well, you know, why are you in today? And you say, I'm here for CH, and you explain what it's about. I remember a previous member, Henry Pollard, had his presentee who was a Grecian, and he had put a picture up in the members room of he and his Grecian who went on to university that he had been with for 7 years, and had, I think there was a sort of medal and something else attached to it, and it caused quite a lot of conversation. So as well as putting the impact reports, I'll have a little think about what we can leave around to pique people's interest. I have a bear actually that was a gift, and maybe I'll plop that into the members room because it's in its full CH regalia, and hopefully that will start some conversations. But agreed, we've got to demystify the language, and I think it can be something that maybe sends the wrong signal about the committee. Okay, great. Just on the minutes as well, there was an action from the last meeting around approaching the livery committee and seeing what kind of traction we could have with the livery committee around promoting CH. Unfortunately, the response was very disappointing. They didn't want to single out any particular school in our family of schools or wider, and so they didn't feel it was right for CH to get special attention, which was quite disappointing. We asked twice, both from an office standpoint and the chair of the committee, and so I don't think we're going to get much traction with that, which is unfortunate. So just giving you an update on that. And lastly, James, I'm sorry, I was supposed to pick this up with you. Did we have any follow-up conversations on the maybe Lloyd's market? I don't know if Hugo or Sam picked that up.
Yeah, we did, and I think now it's just a case of agreeing which of those companies are going to be part of that initial cohort. But yeah, we had agreed. There were a few others, so Simon Duckworth, trying to think the other members that had come forward and said they had connections that would. So I'm happy to take that away as an action.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Sam.
I was just going to say on the livery aspect, hi Marianne, just that you might be interested, is that next year we've got 2 Old Blues who are masters of livery companies. So the Carpenters and the Ironmongers, both of their new masters incoming are Old Blues, and we're working with both of them to, in their year, raise the profile of CH amongst the livery members. So we're looking at doing collaborative dinner and St Matthew's Day and all that kind of thing as well. So just thought you might be interested in that.
Fantastic. Sounds good. Town Clerk.
Thank you. Item 6 is the impact report from Vice Hospital.
Members, this is the old impact report that we did review at our last meeting. We will simply ask Sam to update us on anything she thinks it's worth highlighting. Since we had that last report, I know we've had the exams back, we've got a new head, and so maybe Sam could just give us a bit of an update on the new things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the new impact report is in its draft at the moment, but pretty much there. So obviously Matthew has started as the new head in September, which is great. He's been obviously very warmly received. I think a few of you have met him. He's very different to Simon, but great, very personable, is out there meeting the kids. He is obviously making his own plans and changes that he will be making to the school. He's addressing all of the staff on the 5th of November to tell us about his plans, and I assume that will be rolled out to the wider community after that as well, so we'll hear more about that. I know one of the things that he is going to be focusing on, and he's made this very clear, is the academic rigorousness of the school and increasing the academic output of the school. So he's made that very firm from the start. He's also, of course, confirmed that he will be protecting the bursary places as well. So the 650 bursary places. So those are the two things we know at the moment. But yeah, great, really keen to get involved with all of the work that we're doing in the development side. He is a haberdasher as well, which helps us in terms of liveries. And he's very keen to get involved and meet with people. One thing that wasn't in the impact report, which I think some of you will be aware of, is the introduction of fee-assisted day bursary places. So that's been, we're taking applications for that at the moment. So this September, we've had our first few apply. I think there's about 10 places on offer at the moment. The importance for that is that there had been some chat that we had lost connection perhaps with the local families. We were always a local charity. Local parents were obviously not as keen to send children boarding if they're only 10 minutes down the road. So it was helped that the introduction of day bursary places would encourage more local children to come through. So we've had a good response to that at the moment. So we'll obviously keep you updated about how many we end up taking on. That obviously may lead to a bigger piece of work within the school about how day pupils fit into the school. At the moment, we only have a handful of day pupils and they just slot into the boarding houses. But if we are going to have more day pupils, they need to review how that will work within a boarding school environment. And there's some visits going on to different schools and discussions and all those kind of things going on. So we'll keep you updated as those happens. But I think that's really positive. You know, day bursary places is really positive. I think you saw all of this. In terms of, I think we're going to be reporting about £7.2 million fundraised in the next impact report, which is great, obviously. And that's a mixture of old blues and legacies and companies. Partnership income is slightly down. We've had a couple of John Lyons and a few foundations pull back their funding from us just because of a change in focus for them. So a big focus for me and Hugo will now be working on our partnerships and getting new partnerships going. So it's going to be a big focus going forward for us. 29 livery companies supporting us, which is great. We've had a few new ones. Excuse me, the VAT, we're going to continue our support into 2025-26. So we're not going to add VAT to any of the bursary student contributions, and we're still going to cover that in full. The full fee paying families are going to see a bit of increase, but we're going to allow them time to adjust. But I think in terms of this committee, the bursary parents will still be protected from that. And it means that we're taking that in the school, which means we've got a deficit, as you guys know. So we're going to have to fundraise hard, basically, to fill that. But good. I think that's the right thing to do for the bursary parents. The A-level results were widely publicised. They're very good, 80% C or above, places at Oxbridge and GCSE 500 grades at level 8 or 9. But as Matthew has noted, there definitely is room for improvement there. And that's what he will be focusing on. Some partnerships in terms of physical partnerships. We've had some maths camps running in conjunction with XTX Markets, who some of you might know. And we also had the City of London Corporation schools from, is it Gallywall and Redriff primary schools came down in the summer. We had 210 students from them came down and did 2 days of outdoor camping. So kind of tents and campfires and all those kind of things, which is great. And I didn't see it, but I understand they had a really good time. And we're going to be working to do much more of that if we can, because we've got the space, we've got the facilities. So I know our teams are looking in that. More about the various things that are happening, fundraising things, but that's quite usual. That's probably it. Chair, if that's okay.
Thanks.
Obviously, any questions anyone's got, then please ask me.
Sharon.
Thanks, Chair. Just on the fees, on the inclusion of VAT for fee-paying parents, I think most public schools have kind of parents have accepted that they have to have that VAT added on. Can you explain the logic of keeping that sort of protection for fee-paying parents when actually most schools have sort of passed it on. And I understand, you want to try and protect that parent body, but actually, I think most people accept the fact that they've got to pay that 20%.
Yeah, first of all, I should say that I'm not privy to the actual decisions of how that was made, so I can get a much longer explanation for you. What I do know is that we are really in need to increase our full fee payers at the moment, and I suspect that not passing on the full VAT is something to do with that.
It's just that you're fundraising to pay VAT.
I agree.
And that doesn't sit very comfortably with me.
We're fundraising to pay for the deficit that's been brought about by national insurance, VAT and business rates as well. Yes, I agree, and that's not a decision taken by me. So I can definitely feed that back and get some more information about that, but I suspect the reasoning behind that is because they're trying to increase the full fee payers, and I'm presuming they've done the math and made a decision around that. And obviously the deficit is not just being covered by fundraising, it's obviously being covered by cuts elsewhere as well. So, but I can get you a longer answer on that, absolutely.
Marianne.
Thank you, Chair. Just following on from that question, I think there's a difference between other independent schools that parents are sending their children to in Christ Hospital. The majority of children who are attending this school, their parents could not afford this education.
We're talking about fee payments.
Oh, fee paying ones. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I think it was to soften the blow because of the increase in fees anyway. And I think it will be phased in, but the fees had increased and then the VAT on top.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Town clerk, sorry.
Just a reminder of members that we are in the public session, so just the conversation, just things that you're happy in the public realm.
Yes, I think there are lots of things I think that have fed into that, and I don't know what other schools are doing with their full, with their VAT as well. But yeah, I can get you a longer answer.
Sure.
Chair, one of the wonderful things about this school and about a couple of other independent schools is this extraordinary all-round education that they get. And we mentioned the performing arts earlier. I just wondered with the new head's idea of raising the academic standard, whether that might have an impact on all the other activities and various strands at the school, that it might mean that you have to pull back on some of the other things, which I think would be a shame, because I'm always so impressed, reading this report and all the wonderful things that go on. Obviously, if we're going to have to teach to the test a bit more, that might disturb some of the other stuff. It's a delicate balance, I know, but it's because it's so wonderful there.
Of course, yeah. No, I think I can reassure you that nothing else. There won't be any impact on any of the other activities that are going on at school. They'll be protected and made sure. Yeah, definitely.
I suppose the question was, how is he going to improve the academic excellence without impacting on all the other wonderful things that you do at the school? And I think we've got that assurance now that the wonderful explorational education, which is absolutely fantastic, and it gives children an out of classroom education and experience. It builds their resilience, their team building, their capabilities, breaks down fears, barriers. It's absolutely amazing. And I would hate to think that would be impacted, given it's taken us so long to get it up and running. And equally, again, with the arts and the music. So perhaps in the next report, the headmaster can explain how he proposes to improve the education excellence without having that impact on those other areas. And again, the impact on the pastoral care, because a number of our children there are very intelligent, very bright, but they also have a lot of other weights on their shoulders, illnesses, family issues. So it's about having that balance without creating too much stress for the student. So perhaps the next report we could have a more of a detailed discussion on how he intends to move the school forward, and to hear his vision on his plan for the next 5 years for the school. I think that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Marion. I think actually previously we used to have a bit more detail in our pack, and I think in previous committee meetings we kind of reduce that down, but it's up to members if they would like to see more detail and bring that detail back within reason. But I think we used to get a little bit more detail. You're quite right. So.
I think certainly with obviously a new head and Matthew coming along, it would be great for him to address maybe the next committee meeting, or we have some kind of special meeting. We did attempt that with trying to get members down to school the other day, but there are certainly some questions that obviously he's the right person to answer those for you. So yeah, we can work together.
I just had two. The first was sort of a congratulations. I noticed CH presence on social media is sort of very different compared to other schools. It's there. You're there on TikTok and Instagram, and there's good conversations happening around CH, and I think that brings awareness to what you're doing, and I think that'll be great for potential donors. And so the school doing great work in that respect. But the second thing, I wanted to understand how the partnership with Gallywall and Redriff came about, and whether there's an avenue in which we can use that same kind of channel to work with the family of schools, because I think that will also help us build traction and support from members within the corporation.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's something that we're really, really keen to get more kids down, work with more schools. Absolutely. From what I understand, I think it came about with Hugo talking to Deborah's office, and I think there was maybe some grant available, and he applied for a grant, I think, for those children to come down, and so we kind of won that grant effectively, and they ran this as a pilot to see how it would work. So it was the first time that we'd done anything like that as well, so bringing the kids down and getting them. So what I understand, it was very successful. I know that I've been CC'd in on email with Deborah's office that Hugo has been talking to them about doing some more work along those lines, and including more schools in. From what I understand, there were more schools invited, but these were the only ones that took up the offer. I think, I mean, I can understand that they wanted to see how it worked and how it would work for the kids and stuff. So as far as I'm aware, very much the ambition is to increase that and develop it, and to work with more of the city schools to get them down. So any, suggestions on how we might do that, it would be gratefully received.
Fantastic. No, thank you, Sam. I think we have somebody who's not quite a member of this committee trying to work that channel through Deborah's office. So hopefully we'll get some traction on that soon. Any more questions? Town clock.
Thank you, Chair. Item 7 is questions on matters relating to the work of the committee. Do any members have any questions in a public session on the matters? No. Actually, item 8 is any other business that the chairman considers urgent. Chairman.
There's nothing from me.
No. Actually, it's item 9, which is the exclusion of the public. Are members content to exclude the public?
Yes, please.
Thank you. And if you'll bear with me while I wait to confirm that the live stream has ended.